Hey friends, and welcome back to 155 Books. My name is Shannon, and today we are in my garden. So I thought it would be really nice to sit in the garden and chat to you, but since setting up here I've realised how loud the road is, how loud the neighbours are, but we're just going to roll with it because I can't be bothered to move. So it's been a really long time since I've sat down to film a video. It feels very weird, but I basically wanted to do this video to let you guys know what I've been reading so far this year, what my reading plans are for the rest of the year, and the concept of what I call a low read year. So we are testing out the little microphone, and I've got my phone because I've made notes because I, haven't done this for a while and my memory is dreadful. Even though I haven't read that much this year, I still can't remember what I have read. So that's what we're going to start off with, is basically where my reading has been at so far this year. And basically it has been a total of 6 books. So we're nearly at the end of May and I have read a total of 6 books. At the beginning of this month it would have been 4 books, and that would have made it basically 1 book per month. And I was actually okay with that. When I realised earlier in the year, I think in the first 2 months I maybe hadn't even read a single book, or maybe had finished 1, I was starting to get really stressed about it, which obviously didn't make me want to read. But then there were all these books that I was excited about reading, and I kind of thought, to take the pressure off, I'm going to set a little list, a little TBR, a little goal up until May to read 1 book every month, and to read a specific book every month, because like I say, in my head there was a couple of books I was excited about, and I had a little list. We're going to go through those a bit later, but I want to talk about the 6 books I have read so far this year, or some of them, very briefly. The first book being Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. I'm not actually going to talk about this because I feel like I've just been talking about it for 2 years, or however long I've been reading that series, so we'll just skip past that one very quickly, but I am glad to have finally finished that and that series. The next book I read after that was for the Paws Pages book club that I'm a part of with Sofia from Sofia Reads, Mary from Mary Among Stories, and Milena from Milena Reads. I will tag everybody and all of the book club information in the description box. But the book that we read, the very first book that we read for our book club, was Julia by Sandra Newham, and I loved it. It was a great book. I will also link our live show. Please be kind to us, or to me. It was our first live show and the first live video I'd done in a really long time. So the nerves were real, but that's okay. So if you didn't know, Julia is I think it's sort of described as a feminist retelling of 1984. That's not how I would describe it. It's basically just 1984 from Julia's perspective, and that's what you need to know going into it, apart from the fact that Sandra Newham did an amazing job on this book of basically doing what it says on the tin and expanding on George Orwell's world, which I loved so much already. Like I say, we went into our thoughts in the live show, so I am going to leave that in the description box, but I think I gave it 4.75 stars. But what I would love to do is reread 1984 and then read Julia again straight afterwards, just to sort of make those comparisons even more, because I think it would probably make it a 5-star read for me. After that I read The Highly Sensitive Person by Elaine somebody. I haven't written that on my notes, so apologies. This is the non-fiction book that obviously a lot of people have probably heard about and seen around the internet recently, because I feel like being a highly sensitive person kind of became popular for a little while, or should I say there was more information about what being a highly sensitive person is. So from some of the resources, I guess, online that I'd seen, I would say that I kind of ticked most of the boxes that come with being a highly sensitive person. So I, of course, for a really long time wanted to read the book and see if there was a bit more information that I could get out of it. At the beginning, I kind of thought, wow, this is going to be really terrible, because it was written a really long time ago, and the first couple of chapters really focus on children and like sensitivity in children, or highly like traits of a highly sensitive person in children. And I was a bit like, okay, this is great, but I'm not a child and I don't have children. But then it really like sort of ramps up. But the main chapter that really helped me, because I think going back over the certain things that have happened in your childhood that you see as highly traumatic. For example, for me, I remember, or there's a story I tell all the time, of why I can't watch The Lion King. Because the first time I saw The Lion King was when I was in year 3 in primary school. Our entire school was watching it together, and we were all in our little lines in the assembly hall watching it on the big screen. And it got to the really sad bit, and I just was a mess, to the point where my teacher had to literally pick me up, sit me on her lap, and like cradle me in front of everyone to like calm me down. And then I think they had to call my mum to come and get me, because I was just inconsolable. And I kind of like paired that to what was going on in my home life, I guess, at the time, even though it wasn't that relevant. And reading this book made me realise, oh no, it's just because I'm a highly sensitive person and always have been. And these like big highlights as a child really show that. But like I say, the one chapter in this that really helped me was the one on sort of like therapy, and how therapy can help people of a highly sensitive nature, and the different types of therapy and how it could work for you. And I literally sat down with my notebook with this chapter, wrote out every single different type of therapy and like how you can self-therapize, and basically redid the entire way that I like look at my life, basically, and how I plan and organise events into my life, how I evaluate my weeks and everything, and have a checklist of basically all of these things, and to help me sort of survive, basically. And I'm not going to lie, it's really, really helped. That obviously isn't something that you can explain particularly well unless somebody has read the book and they kind of know what you're talking about. But yeah, if it wasn't for that one chapter, I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much. But like I say, life-changing. Definitely life-changing. After that, I read Powerless, which was the third book in the Chestnut Springs romance series, which everyone is loving right now for good reason, because it's an amazing series. It didn't live up to the second one. I always forget the name of the second one, because that one was a 5-star read for me, and I feel like the rest of them aren't going to live up to it, just because I love Willa so much. I loved Willa. But I still enjoyed Powerless, so that's good. Definitely a series I want to carry on with. Then I read The Instant by Amy Pitrott, I think. So this was her second book, following on from The Outrun, which was the one that won all of the prizes and was just everywhere, and the one I think they are turning into either a series or a film soon. But I was always interested in The Instant instead of The Outrun, because The Instant follows Amy's life when she moves to Berlin for a year, and I love biographies, memoirs that are set in big capital cities. And it definitely reminded me a lot of Annie Ernaux's kind of work, in that obviously Annie Ernaux is from Paris, or a lot of her memoirs are based on her life in Paris, and this had a similar feel in its writing, and like I say, just kind of what the memoir was about. A very interesting one. It kind of covered a lot in not a lot of pages as well, which I really enjoyed, and I definitely want to read The Outrun after reading this one. And then most recently I finished The Sirens by the person that wrote Wayward. Amelia Hart, there we go. And this was the second book for our book club, for the Paws Pages book club, and the live show for this is coming out. It will be on the 1st of June. Again, I'm going to link that in the description box, so I'm not going to talk about my thoughts about this here. I have got a lot to say about it. That is all I will say. And I listened to it on audiobook, and I'm glad I did that because it got me back into audiobooks, which I think is really going to help my reading pick up for the rest of the year, basically. So that is my reading so far this year. And I need to have a tea break. Tea break time. So now we are going to circle back to my concept of a low read year. Like I said earlier in the year, when I wasn't reading a lot, but there were these books in my mind that I kind of wanted to read, I made this list of 1 book a month to read. So I'm going to go through that list with you quickly, just to let you see kind of how it worked for me, I guess. This list obviously isn't actually all of the books I did end up reading, and like I say, it's self-explanatory as I go through it. So the one I wanted to read in February was Deep End by Ali Hazelwood, and that was a buddy read I was doing with Aoife from Pretty Purple Polka Dots, but like I said, I DNF'd it. It was my first Ali Hazelwood book, and it will be my last. Did not enjoy it. It was just bland. It's just the only way to describe it. So bland. Bland characters, bland chemistry, bland world building, and yes, it's a romance book, but you can still put some effort in. But yeah, we're going to move on. But one thing I will say was quite early on when I made this list and I put Deep End in as the book that I wanted to read that month, and then realising that actually I wasn't enjoying it, very quickly made me realise I don't have to read it. I can DNF it and move on to something I do want to read. And like I say, that really helped me. So then I think after that, that's when I read Powerless, because I knew, I'm in the mood for a romance and I do know which ones I will enjoy, so let me pick that up instead. So yeah, see, it just kept me reading rather than putting me in a slump. Then in March, it was obviously Julia by Sandra Newham, which, as I've already explained, I read and really loved and enjoyed. And it also meant, because I had the entire month to read it, I wasn't rushing myself. I just took my time reading it, and I really enjoyed that. I was making notes, I was annotating. It was just a really good time. Then in April's book, because I went to Bath in April, which I really enjoyed. So I've been to Bath a couple of times, but only for the day. And this time we went over Easter weekend. Me and my mum went, and it was just so nice to spend a little bit more time there and to take someone who had never been before. We obviously had a great time, but because we were going to Bath in April, excuse you. But obviously because of that Jane Austen connection, I wanted to read Mansfield Park, which has been on my TBR for a really long time. And I didn't read it in April. I was reading other things that, like I say, I was equally enjoying. That's when I read The Instant. But my point is, I didn't read it in April, but I did start reading it in May, because it's something I'm currently listening to on audiobook, and again, I'm really enjoying. And I think, like I say, because it was on my list, even though I didn't read it in April, I had more of an urge to pick it up in May, and I'm speeding through it. I'm going to finish it probably this week. And then May's book, again, I didn't read because I was reading Mansfield Park instead, and a couple of other things, was The Fellowship of the Ring, but that's because I'm not really in a fantasy type mood at the moment, and that's okay. It's still going to be on my shelf when I am in the fantasy mood. So yeah, essentially, because this is something that has really been working for me, it's something I want to carry on for the rest of the year. Just take the pressure off. And thankfully, my reading goal for this year was just 1 book, because I think I knew going into the year that I wasn't going to have enough time or energy or headspace to read loads of books. So immediately setting my goal to 1 took that pressure off, and it actually took me a while to get to that 1. 2 months, which is fine. So obviously now I wanted to share with you the books that I want to read for the rest of the year, because yes, I have made a list. I love making lists, okay? And yes, I am aware that I may not read these in this order, in these months. There's some that I might DNF, I might change months, I might not read at all to read something else. And again, that is okay, as long as it keeps me reading, which is the point of the whole thing. So in June, I want to read Dark Dawn by J. Christoph, because I am going to Malta with my mum, and I read the other 2 books in the series when I was in Malta, and that's probably why I haven't finished the series, because I just need to be in Malta when I read it, or at least start reading it. In July, I plan to read The Emperor of Gladness by Ocean Vuong. I need to check the pronunciation of the author's name, because it's our book club read for Paws Pages for the months of June and July. And I have bought it, and the hardcover is absolutely gorgeous. It will be my first book by that author, which I'm very excited for, especially because the synopsis sounds super interesting. In August, I would maybe like to read Waist Deep. It's a Scandinavian translated novel. It was released in May earlier this year, and the reason why I know about this is because I went to a London booktuber meetup at the weekend, like last weekend, and that's also really got me into wanting to read more and make videos again, because the community is just so lovely, to the point where I kind of felt like an imposter. Like every single time we go, or I go to one of these, it's only the second one I've been to, I feel like an imposter because I don't upload regularly, I don't read a lot. And I was having these kind of conversations with people, and there are other people there that obviously we have other things, and sometimes, yes, we drop off the radar and we come back, and all of it's okay. Sometimes we don't read as much, that's okay. Everyone is still so lovely and welcoming, and if you read 1 book a year, you are part of this community, and it's just so beautiful. So that's why I'm here making this video. But yes, back to Waist Deep. Ben from Ben Reads Good was talking about, it was one of the books he brought with him to read, but he finished it on the train, and when he was explaining the synopsis, I was like, I am all over this. This sounds like something I will really enjoy. It's basically about a group of students, they go to a cabin one hot summer, and they're confined in this small space. It's hot, temperatures rise, and I'm assuming some kind of friendship argument overload explosion ensues. Very much here for that. Love those kinds of books. So yes, because I've just heard about it, I don't want to forget about it and move on. I would like to read that quite soon, and I feel like August will be the perfect time for that. September, I'm obviously planning to read Hot Wax by ML Rio, because yes, I have pre-ordered it and I have heard nothing but amazing things, and I'm not surprised, because that woman is just my life. Then in October, I would really like to read Oliver Twist, mainly because I would like to take part in Victober, because every year I want to take part in Victober, and every year I want to read Oliver Twist because it's been on my TBR for a really long time. So this year I really want it to happen. Then in November, as it's non-fiction November, I really want to pick up, if I haven't picked it up already, as it's calling to me at the moment, The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. Again, this is one that I do own, and it's on my TBR. Yes, everyone is talking about it, and I really want to read it. I feel like I've kind of implemented it into my life already in a very shallow degree, so it'll be very interesting to read it and see how the depth of the theory and the depth in which I can apply it to my life. And then in December, if I haven't read any Shakespeare by this point, I'm probably going to be dying, so I plan to read The Winter's Tale. I have kind of given up on my Shakespeare challenge of reading them chronologically, because I'm 30 now, so I've passed the point of wanting to do that before I was 30, but I was also getting really bored, but because of the area in which I'm in chronologically, it's just all the histories, and none of them are interesting me. So I have The Winter's Tale on my TBR, so instead I'm just going to try and read the ones that are on my TBR, and then maybe go back to the chronological situation. So yes, I don't know how many times I've said the word excited in this video, but those are the books I plan to read for the rest of the year, at least just one a month, and I will be happy if I read them in a different order. I will be happy if I read something else I love instead of the book I've picked. I will be happy. If I'm reading, I'm happy. That's all that matters. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to get my tea. I do plan to film a couple of other videos next week, with it being the bank holiday Monday. So I would like to be consistent. I want to be more involved in the community again, share what I'm reading, even if it's not a lot, talk about the books I've read years ago. Thank you for watching and staying with me. I love you all so much, and I'll see you soon in my next video. Toodles!